In this video, I'm gonna give you the most practical guide on how to build a $1 million business from scratch. The reason I say this is the most practical guide that you'll ever receive on how to build $1 million business is simply because I have done it. And I would actually say I've done it in a pretty short time frame. I started around 2 years ago and now I'm actually over $1 million. And so what I'm about to show you in this video is exactly how I've done it. And it's also how my customers routinely do it themselves as well by following this exact practical guide. So I don't want to waste any more of your time. Let's just jump straight into it, okay? It's a 5-step guide, right? Step 1. This is one of the most important steps because this is going to depict what route the actual business goes down in the later steps here that we'll go through, right? So step 1 is to find a market that has either, number 1, an issue that isn't being solved right now, right? So maybe like this certain type of industry, this certain type of market, and I'm going to give you examples here in a minute, by the way, as well, but this certain type of industry or market has an issue that nobody's addressing, right? That is a perfect market for you to go after. The other type of market that you can go after is a market where people are trying to fix the problem, but nobody's actually able to do it at a high level. For example, I have 2 businesses right now. Number 1, it's an agency, and number 2 is a coaching business. And both of those businesses aren't revolutionary businesses, right? When I got into them, there was a bunch of people who were running an agency before me. There'll be a bunch of people who run an agency after me. When I got into the coaching, there's a bunch of people who were coaching before me. Same thing, there'll be a bunch of people coaching after me. So they weren't revolutionary businesses and we weren't technically solving problems that people weren't trying to solve previous. But what we did do differently is we actually solved the problem and we solved it at a much higher level. For example, with my agency, a lot of businesses that we speak to, and when I started out, a lot of the businesses at the time that I spoke to, everyone had worked with an agency before. Everybody had previous experiences with an agency before. The issue was that every single client I spoke to, they all had the same story about the previous agencies. Or we've worked with an agency before, but they just didn't get us results. They just didn't deliver on what we wanted them to do. They just weren't a good fit. It was the same story every single time. And so at that point, I knew that the agency was a perfect business model to go into because yes, it wasn't revolutionary. Everybody knew what an agency did, but nobody could actually deliver results. So that was a stagnant industry. And so that's the second market, if you like, that you want to try and identify, a market that's stagnant, where basically you can come in and actually deliver on what you're saying, right? All of these agencies told these business owners that, you know, they could deliver results and they could get them to, you know, XYZ numbers that they wanted to hit, but nobody was actually able to do it. We came in, we started to actually be able, by virtue of following the following steps, which I'm going to go into here in a minute, we was actually able to deliver results. And so at that point, the agency blew up, even though it wasn't a entirely new revolutionary product or service or whatever it may be. So they're your 2 main markets that you really want to try and identify. Again, it's the same with me with the coaching business, right? There's a lot of coaches out there, but there's very, very few coaches out there who genuinely will go to the ends of the earth to get their customers the best possible results. There's very, very few. And so again, that's not a revolutionary business model from my end. I'll be very honest, like this is a lot of other people doing it, but there's very few out there who actually are able to deliver on what they say. That's why we've got nearly 1,000 customers for my coaching business, because we actually deliver results. And I personally, as well as my team, will go to the ends of the earth for our customers to get them the best results. We'll go out of our way. We'll give them new stuff. Like people request something, we'll build it for them. We'll create it for them, whatever it may be. Not many people do that. So again, that's another example of a stagnant industry. And so that's why I was able to join an industry where there was a bunch of other businesses, a bunch of other people operating. So you could, I wouldn't say it's saturated, but it's not like a completely untapped market, right? There's a bunch of people in there, but that's why I was able to join and still prosper in a quote, you know, saturated industry, if you like, because I joined, but I changed the deliverable. I changed the outcome, the output of our service, of our product, which by virtue of that, we kind of created our own blue ocean within a red ocean industry. So that's step 1. You have to identify a market that either is completely unique, right? Nobody's talking about fixing that issue, or nobody's addressing this issue that this specific market is facing. Or number 2, you can join saturated. I don't like that word because again, I don't think markets are saturated, because again, I personally think that if there's an industry where there's a bunch of people in there, you can still create an untapped sub-market, if you like. You can still create, if you've ever read the Blue Ocean strategy, you can still create a blue ocean inside of a red ocean. So like I say, the second one is to join a saturated market, but change the results, right? right? Deliver better results for whoever the ideal customer is. Actually fix the problem that you're saying that you'll fix. And that kind of takes us on to step 2. Now, step 2 is to figure out a way for you to deliver results. Now, in this step, when you first start, and this is something that I really want to talk about because I see so many people mess this up, right? When people start their agency, their coaching business, an e-commerce business, whatever it is, they always try and automate a deliverable that just doesn't perform, right? So they try and have the most streamlined service offering. They try and have the most maybe if they're a coach, right? They'll build an entire info product, right? Which is a very automated deliverable once the info product's built. But what they failed to realize before they built the product, what they're going through, the content that they're talking about or whatever it is, actually doesn't produce results for the market that they identified in step 1. So now they've got this automated system that doesn't produce results. They've got this automated product that doesn't produce results, right? So step 2 is about providing a manual service, do it in a manual way so that you are able to ensure that you actually can deliver results for the market that you identified in step 1. I'll give you a real life example of this. When I started coaching, I never built an info product, which is an automated version of a coaching offer. I never built an info product. I never streamlined my deliverable. What I did in the beginning was I did one-on-one calls, right? So that's a very, very manual approach to delivering the results, because in order for somebody to get results, I had to spend an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours of my time physically on a call, walking somebody through in a manual way. And I was repeating myself all day long because I had multiple calls every single day, right? And so that's not a very scalable approach to building a business, right? Where it's like, if the only way a customer is going to get results is if you spend 3 hours with that specific customer. You can't really scale that too much, right? But what I was focusing on was that I was actually able to get these customers results, because look, if I can't manually get somebody results, I'm not going to be able to do it in an automatic way. And so as I say, step 2 is about going to the ends of the earth, doing everything that you physically can from a manual perspective to help that customer get results. If it's not scalable, don't worry, right? Don't worry about scaling just yet. You need to ensure that you can get results. Because look, the other thing is that if you sign one client, right? Your first client that you sign on board, that's awesome, super good job, but you may have fluked it. And you may be able to fluke your first, 1 to 5 clients, I would say. But the thing is that you cannot fluke your way to $1 million. You just can't, right? $1 million is $83,000 a month, right? Easy numbers, let's say $100,000 a month. You're never gonna fluke your way to $100,000 a month. It's physically impossible, right? Maybe if you're a really good scam artist, you could, but who wants to be that, right? You wanna actually deliver results for your customers and your clients. So in the beginning, manually deliver the service, do everything you physically can to ensure your clients get results. Then, only at that point, you can then move on to step 3, which is refine for results, right? So step 2 is about getting the foundations. Okay, I know this system works. Now it's like, okay, how can we take this system and deliver 5 to 10x those results by virtue of doing 5 to 10x from the input side? So how can we 5 to 10x the output? By virtue of dividing the input by 5 to 10. Because again, going back to, for example, the agency, right? Again, not a revolutionary business. But the reason we've built such a successful agency is because we actually deliver results. But the other thing is that, yes, we can deliver results, but we deliver results on such a higher level than what other agencies are able to do, that clients are willing to change from their current agency to us. That's how we really are winning the game in the agency space, and we're able to really scale up. Right? For example, again, if a client, right, and this is with an agency example, but it applies to the coaching industry, to the, an e-commerce business, whatever it may be. If a client is working with an agency right now, and their current agency, let's say, for example, they're getting a 2.5 ROAS. So they're getting results. They're not the craziest thing in the world, but they're getting results, right? Well, if we go to that same client and we go, hey, like, blah, 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 we do our sales process and whatnot. And at the end of it, the outcome that we're saying is like, hey, we'll be able to get you a 3 ROAS. They're probably not going to come over, right? They're not going to switch from their current agency to us just to receive a 0.5 ROAS increase. They're probably just not going to make that switch. So in step 2, we've figured out that we can get results, right? And 2.5 ROAS, 3 ROAS, 3.5 ROAS, that's getting pretty good results depending on the spend. Like, that's pretty good, right? But it's not enough to really like take over the market. It's the same thing in the coaching industry, right? If you're able to, be your clients or your customers' coaching or consulting business, if you're able to get them, $5,000 a month extra profit, $10,000 a month extra profit, it's pretty good numbers, right? You can get your customers results, but it's not like 40,000, it's not 50,000 a month profit, but you're not like, 10xing their current numbers. You may be 2-3xing their current numbers. Pretty good. You can deliver results, but it's nothing crazy, right? And the reason you want the results to be so insane, because one of your main, if not the main client or customer acquisition channel that you should be leveraging is actually your current customers. It's actually your current client roster. Like, they should be sending you so many new clients or new customers that can act as one of your main customer acquisitions. And you're only going to be able to do that if you're able to deliver results like beyond belief. Like, it's like you must be doing something like shady here. Like, surely you can't deliver these types of results. That's the level that you want to be operating at. So going back to the agency example, like if we figure out how to get a 3 ROAS for clients, that's pretty cool, but we're not gonna like blow we're not gonna blow the industry out of the water. But the way in which we would be able to blow the industry out of the water is if maybe we're able to get a 3 ROAS, but we're able to do that on like $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $10,000 a day in spend. That is like results on a whole new level. And so step 3 is to really refine. And this may also incorporate you looking at different areas. For example, agency space again, we work with e-commerce businesses. And one of the really important things in order to deliver results for e-commerce businesses is not always what's being done in the ad account, right? It's also their AOV. It's also their product market fit. It's also the offers that they have. Right? It's also their creative capacity. Like, there's so much more to being able to deliver results. And so one thing that we've recently been looking into and we've been implementing into the agency is becoming more of an integral part into our clients' businesses. We have a very big part in our clients' businesses from a creative standpoint, right? We also help our clients with offers, right? We help our clients with website conversion rate. We're actually even looking into potentially building separate landing pages for our clients so that we're able to be more in control of the website conversion rate. And so now that's going to make our results even better. So in step 3, you want to refine for those results. You want to think, okay, cool, we're getting results, but how can we take them to the next level? That's what I did. What is actually getting us results right now? Well, it's the ads we're running, it's their offers, okay? It's their website conversion rate, it's the creatives that we're able to leverage. Okay, cool. So how can we take more control of that? How can we take more control so that then we're able to basically dictate and take more control of the output? Well, let's hire a creative team. Cool. Well, let's do this, let's do that. Now the results are on another level. That's step 3. Step 4 is to streamline that delivery process or automate it if you can. So automating the deliverable is like the most optimal, right? Because if you can automate it, then that's going to be essentially within reason, infinitely scalable. But for example, with an agency business or any type of service-based business, you can't automate the deliverable, right? Because it's a done for you offer. So that you can't really automate it, but you can streamline it, right? You can productize the deliverable. And so step 4 is all about figuring out how can we make this as close to automated as we physically can. If not, we actually automate it. For example, coaching in the consulting industry, you can build an info product, right? I still recommend to always have some sort of done for you aspect to your coaching or consulting offer. I think that makes it, that again, talking about results, like if you can do as much as you physically can for your clients or customers, again, that gives you more control of the output, which means your customers are going to get even better results, which means like you're going to be able to scale so much easier, right? That's step 4, streamlining the deliverable. And as I said previously, that is the process that you should be doing it in. You should not be looking at streamlining and automating your deliverable before it's proven to get results. People mess up on this all the time. They try and focus on this, all of these like automatic systems and like Zapier integrations to like automate different stuff. You've got a system that's automated that doesn't work. Who cares that it's automated at that point if it just doesn't work? Who cares if it's automated at that point, right? So start manual, then automate it once you've proven it. And then step 5 is to build a team around that proven business. Because by this point, right, if you've done the first 4 steps, right, and you've took action on it and you've actually achieved the goal of each step, you should realistically be at around 30 to 50,000 a month by this point, realistically. Right? And so step 5 is building a team around that 30 to 50K a month business, because the only thing now that you need in order to get to 100K a month from this point is to simply increase the volume. That's it. And obviously, as you increase volume, you need extra players, you need extra A players in your team to handle the increased volume, but also still maintain the output, still maintain the results that either your customers are getting or your clients are getting. That's the key. But you don't need anything else. That's all you need now. You can just take that 30 to 50K a month business to 100K with ease. And by the way, when I say team, I do not mean that you need to now go ahead and get an office and you now need to go ahead and hire a HR department and what. That's not what I mean. When I say team, I literally mean you need 1 to 3 key players where you're basically able to duplicate yourself maybe, as I say, 1 to 3 times. Now, you want to be careful about duplicating yourself exactly. You don't want to have 3 identical yous in your company, because then you're all going to have the same strengths, you're all going to have the same weaknesses, and then nobody's making up for the weaknesses. But the idea here is that you want 1 to 3 key players. And once you've found those 1 to 3 key players, you import them into the proven business model already, you'll be able to hit 100K. And 100K a month is $1 million business. That's it. That's it. Like, it's really, like, it's the simplest, hardest thing you'll ever do, because the process is so easy. What I've just gone through is a $1 million business. And to find a market that needs help isn't that hard, right? To go to the ends of the earth to make sure that you're able to actually help that person and deliver results isn't that hard, right? But the hard thing about it is to stick with something and triple down on it and focus on that, and not get the issue of, like, you know, thinking the grass is greener on the other side. That's the issue most people face, right? Most people, they'll start in like this one vertical, right? They'll start in this one vertical, they'll try and go down, but then they're like, no, this is not it, right? So then what they'll do is they'll go back to the top, they'll jump to the next, right? And then they'll try and go down, and they're like, oh no, this is not, and then they'll jump to the next, because they keep thinking the grass is greener on the other side. And then when they look back, they're 12 months, 24 months into their journey, and they're like, I've been working so hard, I've been working so much, but I've got no results. And it's like, yeah, but when you look back on your journey, you've not gone deep into any one thing. You've split yourself across like 47 different business models, 47 different things, and you've only gone like an inch deep into 47 different things, as opposed to going 47 inches deep into one thing. And usually it's around like 30 inches deep. That's where the results are like held, right? It's probably a terrible analogy, but you get the idea, okay? So that's my personal 5-step practical guide to building $1 million business. I've done it, and this is exactly what I've done. As I said at the start, you don't need a revolutionary business model. You just don't. I personally don't think you need to reinvent the wheel, but I do think sometimes the wheel needs to be remodeled. And that's pretty much, as I say, what I've done with both of my businesses, agency and the coaching side. I've not reinvented the wheel, I've just remodeled it. That's it. And so I really do believe that if you start to think in these like 5 steps, and you just, if you're completely starting out, then start at step 1. If you're kind of, 6 months, 10 months, whatever, 12 months into your journey, maybe you're at 10,000 a month right now and you want to get to 100,000, well, I think you need to just see, okay, like look at the 5 steps and then just see where you're at the moment, right? Where in this process are you at? Maybe most people at 10,000 a month, their issue is that they've identified a market, and then what they've done is they've jumped to step 4, right? They've jumped to try and automate in a service that doesn't actually produce the best results that it could. That's most of the time people's issue, right? So see where you're at right now, see where you're at in those 5 steps. And from that point onwards, make sure you then follow the next steps after. And I promise you that is the best way to build a $1 million business. So that being said, I hope you found value in this video. If you did, as always, please go ahead, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff, and I will see you in the next video.